Yeah. You miss me? Don't answer that. I know you did. But I've been locked in with school, you feel me? I had to recenter myself, calm my mind, you feel me? And get back to work, you feel me? But in episode 3, I told you how black people were a pivotal part of the expansion of basketball as well as music with the Black Fives. But what would you say if I told you we also laid the groundwork for what is now to be known as hockey? Mhm. Today we're going to be talking about the innovators of Nova Scotia, Canada, through the exclusion, created a league for themselves, in which laid the groundwork for what would now be known as the NHL, the National Hockey League. We're going to talk about the innovators of the CHL and its forefathers today. You feel me? The CHL, man, the one of the first all black teams in black one of the first all black teams in the hockey in the CHL, the colored hockey leagues, was the Marietta. It was an all black hockey team founded by black Baptists and black intellects of Havlicek, Nova Scotia in 1895. It was a league designed to attract young black men to Sunday worship services and promise hockey games after, you feel me, after service against rival, you feel me, churches and stuff of that nature. So it also laid the groundwork for a black nationalist movement in Canada that helped push forward, you feel me, equality in sports and other things and just everyday life. But let's get into the origins of the league itself and just talk about where it started. You know what I'm saying? The CHL was rooted in baseball, so you feel me? They were kind of taking along the Negro Leagues formula. By the mid 1880s, there was black clubs all around Nova Scotia and Eastern Canada called barnstorming, where teams would go across countryside and just play each other. You feel me? Locally, and just get, you feel me, a little bump on the ice in Canada. The genesis of the league, though, started with four men: Pastor James Borden of Dartmouth Church, James A.R. Kennedy, the first black graduate of Maritime Business College and Cornwallis Street Church layman, James Robin Johnson, first black graduate of Dalhousie University Law Program, and Henry Sylvester Williams, a Trinidadian law student who would later come to find the first Pan African Conference of 1990. These four men were inspired by the writings of Booker T. Washington and this quote: I have learned that success is to be measured not to be by the obstacles of which he has overcome while trying to succeed. By the 20th century, the CFLs expanded from just 3 teams to being able to accrue regional challengers. The teams of the CHLs were the Dartmouth Jubilees, the Maiden Club, so the originator, Africsville Seasides, the Truro Victorias, the Charlestown West End Rangers, the Amherst Royals, and the Hammond Plain Mossbacks. Mossbacks. The games were structured similarly like a boxing championship and like a challenge cup type system. The previous year champion would hold the championship title, of course, and challengers would come forth and play each other for a chance to compete against the champion for the title. It was complicated in the beginning stages though because they were only able to play in arenas with quality ice and things of that nature after the season where their white counterparts were done playing. Due to the 8-week playing window, it was hit or miss where the championships could be played because the ice may have been melted, so it's kind of hard to play and it's going to be hard to skate. Due to the fluctuation of how often and how iffy being able to get into arenas were, there would be feuds between different clubs and different people because it was like, man, we deserve a chance to get to play in the championship, we deserve a chance to be champions, and the things would just go wrong from time to time just because of that. It's crazy how structured of a system it was because the only rule book that they had laid out for the games was the Bible. And ironically enough, with that being the only rule book, it created an innovative, fast paced, rugged, and just a different style of play that people weren't used to. In fact, the CHL has credited Henry Braces Franklin with the drop to his knees block as a goalie. You feel me? Stop playing with that boy. And also, boom, the earliest form of the slap shot by Eddie Martin, who was coined with the creation of that shot. At the peak of the league in the 1905, there were more than 12 teams and hundreds of players. Attendance reached its peak of 12,000 spectators for international maritime championship game between the Archville Seasides and the Charlottetown Rangers, even outselling their counterparts. You feel me? So, you feel me? We knew how to draw people in. Stop playing. After a 5-year legal battle over expanding the railroad system into ports of Havlicek, causing it would be during that time it would push black communities out and move them out of the city so they could use the land that they were trying to build upon. As a result of this, and the black community and the people in the communities basically bucking the system and being led, one of the league organizers, James Robinson Johnson, represented the families at this time. They were basically going against the programs and the plans that they had at the time. So because of this, with the battles with the rinks and being able to get these things done, the white folks that had ownership of the arenas wouldn't let people through, or they would be such assholes and make it sure that the ice was melted and the quality of the ice was so bad that you weren't even able to play. So to get back at you until this legal battle blew over. I'm stuttering, fighting for my life right now. But during this time, the local coverage was disappeared generally overnight because there was only one article that was published in 1905 through 1905 and 1906. The poor services and the poor promotion was what single-handedly ended the league at this time. And the last newspaper article that was even published on the team and of the league was in 1911. It was short-lived, but they tried to bring the league back after the war and reform with 3 teams. The Truro Victorias, the Archville Seasides, and the Havlicek All-Stars. The Truros came with younger players, though. New players, new systems, and you feel me? But on the contrary, the Archville Seasides came with the same players that they had from the original roster. So them players were upwards of in their 40s, getting old, you feel me? Pretty much. Out of their prime. Out of their prime. So the success that it had from prior times, it was kind of forgotten. And the true meaning of what it was really built upon, community, black empowerment, and just pushing the narrative that new things can be brought from the black community, that it lost its fire behind it. So the league really didn't, and its religious backings too also, because a lot of people were dead that knew the original origins and the original story of these people. So they were dead and gone. So they lost the fire, which also led to just it not being able to be structured like it was, and being that the National Hockey League was already being covered so extensively, the coverage for the CHL was just non-existent. So it really didn't last much longer. But after World War II, it was all but forgotten. So it was all but forgotten and all but done for as an organization. A lot of books were written. The book Black Ice: The Lost History by George and Daryl Frosty. They wrote a book going in depth talking about these people of the CHL and how their forefathers, the innovators, and all the people that put time and effort into pushing and making this league great at the time. And that was one of the groundbreaking first accounts that was pushing the narrative of, yeah, like this is a real thing. This was big, even though it wasn't officially recorded. This should be known. This should be spread. In 2015, the CHL was featured on Damon Kwame Mason's documentary Soul on Ice, Past, Present, and Future, going more in depth and giving his accounts of and knowing of everything that went into the CHL. In 2020, Canada actually gave them a post to commemorate them, as well as a stamp to let people know, like, we did wrong. We did wrong in the past, but we're gonna give y'all flowers. We're gonna give y'all credit. And on a frozen pond in Havlicek Citadel, they actually gave it reads colored hockey colored hockey championship, including teams the Jubilee, Stanley, Eureka's, Seasides, Rangers, Royals, and the Mossbags. So they have such a rich history that we need to. This is another organization that we need to hold near and dear to us and keep going. Like, this is real history. And again, you need to learn where things came from to know where things correlate and where things are going. Because I am not a huge watcher of hockey, but to know that black people put on the biggest moves like the slap shot and dropping to your knees and to block shots, the athleticism and the just creativity to just be and do new things, it should be commended and it should be applauded as usual. But you feel me? That's another one in the books. The CHL was a all black league. It never officially got credited and never officially got recorded. So the records and the things of that nature were lost in time, lost in the sauce. But do your history. Don't get trapped in the past. Learn from the past so you don't create and follow the same cycles that are gonna happen in the present and the future. You feel me? Yes, slut! Another episode in the books, man. Be proud and wear that blacks on your back. Cause you feel me? We are some cool folks. We got a lot of things going. We had a lot of things. And a lot of people stood on our backs and took our ideas to create the nationally recognized organizations and businesses and things of that nature now. So don't let them lie to you. And we out of here.
It created diversity in a sport that is known as Canada's national sport. Despite the fact that we are from diverse communities, we all, sort of are of that same fabric, that fabric that makes us Canadians, and what's more Canadian than hockey.